Members, students, and distinguished servicemen and women. My name is John Warren. I'm privileged to be the principal and superintendent of Topok School, where I've been blessed to serve our children for over 16 years. It is indeed an honor to be here with you today, December the 7th, 2010, where 69 years ago, our country was brought to its knees for the first time in its history. Some of our veterans and community members here today bore witness to the day Franklin D. Roosevelt proclaimed as a day that would live in infamy. On December the 7th, 1941, the Japanese made a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor, the American naval base in the Hawaiian Islands. And the United States immediately entered World War II. That war lasted for years until the Japanese surrendered on August the 14th, 1945. My younger brother James was stationed in the Navy at Pearl Harbor for 4.5 years on the USS Goldsboro. Therefore, I'm honored to have been asked to speak today as my little brother passed away from cancer in 1996 at the age of 30. I am certain that those who lived through the attack on Pearl Harbor prayed they would never experience that kind of vulnerable terror ever again. But unfortunately, terror did return to our shores, and again by aerial attack, but one shrouded in maniacal ideology. On September the 11th, 2001, terrorists flew our own aircraft into the World Trade Center in New York, and into our Pentagon in Washington, and into a field in Pennsylvania, after a crew of patriots overtook their captors and downed the plane, sacrificing their own lives to save others. Heroes, all of them. And yet again, America avenged this aggression by entering into a war against terrorism. Our troops are still fighting this fight, engaged in a battle to ensure the next generation of American children will live in a world where terrorism and religious intolerance will not be played out before their innocent eyes. Since the bombing of Pearl Harbor, our nation has employed and deployed its human resources to protect us from homeland invasions and attacks. We need to remember those who have made the supreme sacrifice, those who have given their lives, taken in their prime, by all-consuming fires, explosions, and strafing attacks, which rained down upon them from the morning Hawaiian skies in 1941 and the morning eastern seaboard haze in New York City in 2001. We know that remembering those days is important to all of us and to the future of our nation. Winston Churchill left us with this, his very profound advice following the atrocities of the Holocaust, quote, "Those who forget history are condemned to repeat it." So, we are here today to remember and honor and learn. Remember, honor, and learn. Please repeat after me. Remember, honor, and learn. By doing so, we acknowledge the bond that joins us. And to the men and women in uniform, both military and domestic, you draw us to such ceremonies as this because it is our duty to help our young Americans understand the terrible price our nation once paid. For us to fulfill that obligation of our bond, formed by our common experience as patriots, requires that we never allow those attacks to fade from the memory of our young citizens. How do we do that? Education. We educate them to the contributing factors, the analysis of the events, reflection on the outcomes, the social studies of our nation and global position. This is how we empower our children to be resilient patriots and citizens. Marine Corporal Jamie Gustafson. We have Topok School Student Body Vice President Jared Eldridge and Topok School Student Body Secretary Stephanie Shope. Thank you. Whether it be Pearl Harbor or the 9/11 attacks, we must always remain vigilant in our defense against foreign attack on American soil. I'm proud to be here with you today as a child who grew up in an Army family. I know a little something about the sacrifice, lifestyle, and commitment it requires to live in the military. I have sat in desks just like that one on military bases in Fort Polk, Louisiana, Fort Hood, Texas, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and Fort Riley, Kansas. I lived on bases throughout Germany, where I attended school and played football representing this great nation. What I didn't realize as I sat in classrooms on these various bases was the lesson I'm about to share with you today. In those years as a child in the U.S. Army, I was reminded of all the many privileges and opportunities that our military service guaranteed, such as the right to bear arms, the right to free speech, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What I didn't realize until later in life is that perhaps the most important right of all was the right to sit in a desk like this one and receive a free and public education. An education made possible by the brave men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces. So students, all students, I want you to look at this desk and remember that every veteran, active serviceman or woman, has made a choice to put their lives on the line to give each and every child in this country a chance to build that life of liberty and happiness. Students, I want you to acknowledge the men and women like Marine Corporal Jamie Gustafson, who's here today to help us remember how very important it is for us to appreciate our school, our opportunities for success, and for our dreams for the future. Mrs. James, 5th grade students, please lead us in the Kids at Hope Pledge.
I'm a kid at Hope. I'm talented, smart, and capable of success. I have dreams for the future, and I will climb to reach those goals and dreams every day. All kids are capable of success, no exceptions.
Thank you.
Boy, that's going to be a hard speech to follow.